Hello guys, Marcelo here. Today I want to talk about coffee varieties. So this is a very good example of coffee varieties. These coffee trees around me are Typica Variety. The Typica Variety is important because it was the primordial tree. Similar trees as this one in front of you left Ethiopia hundreds of years ago, and in Yemen, when they got to Yemen, the Yemeni people were the first people to domesticate it and create the coffee business. It lasted for 300 years, and then the coffee business was taken over by the European. This tree was distributed all over the world, and one of those places was the Bourbon Island, that is known today as La Isla is a Reunion Island. The French introduced coffee there, and over there we had the first mutation known for coffee. This coffee tree, as you see, it has a main axis, that is a main stem, and from that stem, the branches come out like a tree. It has that cone-shaped tree. The clusters are not tight, they are spread apart and not very even. So it's not the perfect tree. It was good for the Yemeni, but it's not the perfect tree. So once in Reunion Island, the farmers, they noticed a new tree, the Bourbon tree. That's what we know, the Bourbon tree. The Bourbon tree is the most successful commercial tree in the world. It was distributed all over the world. The tree has more leading branches. Also, the distance between the branches is closer, and the clusters are tighter, more even, and the tree can bear a lot more cherry. So back in the day, the Bourbon was the best or the perfect tree. That coffee tree was distributed all over the European colonies, and the coffee business flourished thanks to it. But in 1869, we have the first known infestation of roya or leaf rust, and it completely eradicated the business, especially in Asia. So we needed a solution for that. We needed a tree to be resistant to it. Another problem we had is that these trees, the Kent, this Typica tree, grows very tall, and the Bourbon also grows very tall. So we needed something easier to harvest, easier to maintain. So we discovered a mutation that is called Caturra, that is a dwarf tree. At the same time, we had the Villa Sarchi in Costa Rica, that also is a dwarf tree. If you know about coffee varieties, you have noticed that most of newer varieties, they have at certain point some Caturra or some Villa Sarchi. The reason for that is just to make the tree shorter. And the new varieties that happen after Bourbon are not different from that. So in order to fight roya, we combine different varieties of Bourbon or different type of Bourbon, and one of those was Mundo Novo. Mundo Novo, we combined it with Caturra. There was a dwarf variety, and we had the first known variety that had certain degree of resistance to leaf rust. But it wasn't enough. We needed more. So in the 1950s, in Timor, we discovered an interspecific variety that is a mixture or a combination of Robusta and Arabica that gave us the solution, or that's what we thought. It was strong as a Robusta plant and had the flavor of an Arabica plant. That coffee tree was introduced all over the world, especially in places where roya was known to exist, and it saved the business. We were able to make the the coffee business flourished again thanks to the Timor variety. It's called Timor hybrid. And nowadays, 80% or around 80% of all the coffee that is growing around the world has at certain point genes from this variety. There are other things that we wanted in coffee. For example, we wanted to have a coffee that had lower caffeine level, and we discovered Laurina. Laurina has, by nature, lower levels of caffeine, but caffeine is necessary for the plant. It's a way of defend itself from insects and pests. So Laurina has proven to be a weaker tree, very hard to maintain, very hard to produce. Other things that we have wanted, we create also looking for that resistance to leaf rust. We had combined this one in particular, Kent, with Liberica. We created S795. That is an interspecific hybrid with certain resistance to leaf rust. The same way we created Castillo, or the Colombians created Castillo. It was the first multi-variety or the multilineal, I don't remember how they call it, multilineal variety. That although we call it Castillo, and we call it as it were one variety, is more than 50. And the idea is that as leaf rust gets more prevalent and stronger, the varieties are going to be able to fight back. So in order to have only one to defeat leaf rust, we'll need to defeat more than 50. So we have more time in order to fight back leaf rust. We have over there, let me show you, Pacamaras. It's small. Also, recently an elephant went there and destroyed everything. But Pacamaras is Maraguyipe. There is a completely opposite variety of Caturra. It's a giant variety, the same as we have dwarfs, we have giants. And Maraguyipe is a giant variety from Brazil. And that is combined with Pacas from El Salvador, and we created Pacamaras. The taste of that coffee is incredible. I can hardly wait to have it. It's really, really good. Another varieties we have here in the farm are SL28. That is exactly the same as Bourbon. You can hardly distinguish Bourbon from SL28 because both are Bourbon. But SL28 and SL34 are varieties that at certain point in history they were able to resist a drought. People saved them and separate them from the rest because they were resistant, or they were able to grow without water or very little water. And people in Kenya and in Tanzania, and here in Tanzania started planting them. Now we are not planting them because they're resistant to drought. We found out that SL28 has a very specific flavor, very appealing flavor, that more or less is what gives Kenya its distinctive coffee flavor. So we will try to keep doing it. What else we have here? We have Geisha. That is kind of a heirloom variety from Ethiopia. Not left long ago, but it was rediscovered in Panama. And we have some individuals that were collected from the research center here in Tanzania, not from Panama, and they're growing here in the farm. They also taste very good, really good. We have also Ethiopian varieties that are growing in the farm with similar results from the ones that you can find in Ethiopia. So this is all for now, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.